So I guess first and foremost, Rosalind, Caroline, I just want to thank you guys for jumping on here and agreeing to do this interview. I think your story is very uplifting, and I'm excited for you guys to kind of share that. And I mean, we've known each other for a long time, so I am probably somebody that gets surprised by you year over year over year, just on your growth and your abilities to continually change and evolve and meet people's needs. So I want to dive into that a little bit. I want you guys to introduce yourselves, and then before we do get started, though, we kind of wanted to have like a moment of silence, just in respect for Representative Lewis, because right now they are actually, dedicating him and putting him to rest. And he had a long life of dedicated service to people and the diversity challenges and bringing awareness. So if you guys are cool with that, if we could just take a couple minutes.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Adam.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I appreciate you doing that for us.
Let's get in good trouble.
Yeah. So,
that's what he used to say. Let's get in good trouble.
Good trouble. That's the way to be. So kind of in line with that, I mean, the world is going through another change. We're going through another evolution of trying to find ourselves and balance life and work and family and everything. So Rosalind and Caroline have agreed to come on here and discuss their community, their background, and a little bit about what they're doing to rise and meet the occasion. So why don't you guys go ahead and introduce yourselves? Rosalind, you want to go first, and then Caroline second?
Sure. My name's Rosalind Prather, and I'm one of Trusting Connections co-founders. I am also a mom to two little girls. One's going to be in third grade and one's going to be in first grade. So very much understand the struggle that a lot of parents are going through right now. So thanks for having us.
Yeah, that's powerful, being a parent and an entrepreneur. So you get insight for days.
Yeah. Cool. My name is Caroline Westnitzer, Rosalind's business partner. And I'm COO, CFO, and co-founder of Trusting Connections. So I wear a lot of hats. I'm also a mom to a 15-month-old, and I'm also expecting a new arrival due in January.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
Wow, congratulations. The news just keeps flowing. It's all positivity from you guys anymore. Love it. So very cool. Well,
fantastic.
If you guys wouldn't mind, I just want to dive into like when and why you guys originally launched your company, to kind of give us some background and context into the journey that you two have had together, and then maybe we can talk about some of the successes that you've had in the past pre-pandemic. So why don't you guys introduce us to Trusting Connections and the journey that began?
Well, this is my favorite story, so I'll tell it. It's just really neat because Caroline and I actually have a long history with one another. We've been friends since we were 11, and really good friends, and just kind of grew up together. And then we were roommates in college and actually professional nannies. And we always kind of joked about starting an agency that offered a different perspective to Tucson in particular. So it was just really cool when things came full circle. And when we were 24, shortly after college, we opened Trusting Connections Tucson. And then in 2015, expanded to the Dallas-Fort Worth market, and then opened our third location in Phoenix in 2018. And we were supposed to open a fourth location in August, but because of everything with COVID, we chose to delay that, but we still are opening January. So that's coming right around the corner at an undisclosed location. So it's been a ride. All in total, we've been in business almost 10 years. So.
Wow. I mean, congrats on that.
That is fantastic.
That's good. So 10 years, you've had some successes. You've had some extremely good growth in 10 years. I mean, most businesses don't see expansion like that. So obviously you guys trust and challenge each other, first and foremost. I kind of want to hear from either of you two, just kind of what you're seeing from your side of the business, first of all, on what the needs are, because you guys are probably inundated daily with people that are just trying to figure out what the future is going to look like. And then maybe after we hear about that, we can back into what it's like for you as a parent. That's cool.
I think that actually parents don't know what they need right now, which is a really difficult place to be for everybody. You know, a lot of states haven't made solid decisions with schools. And so it's really hard for parents to know how to plan for the fall. But they're getting to the point where they do need support. I think when the pandemic first hit, you know, a lot of them just figured out how to juggle just being at home with their family, working and doing remote schooling. But now at this point, it's becoming too much. And so they're really trying to figure out a way to safely get support for their family.
Fantastic.
I can definitely align with that. It's you mentioned the states being different in their communication and the laws and everything around that. My wife and I made the decision this year to homeschool our kids, and it was not an easy decision because we both work. We work a lot. But the schools here just could not give us a confident direction that they were taking. It was, yeah, it's going to be virtual, but we don't know who the vendor is. Please just sign this waiver that you'll let these vendors into your house virtually, and everything will be solved, right? So coming from a risk management background, that scared the daylights out of me. I don't want that. So, you know, for us, you're right. We had no idea what we needed. We had no idea where we were going, and we had to kind of make those decisions. Are you guys doing any like advocacy groups or webinars or anything to kind of elevate that awareness and help people through the guidance process?
Yeah, I mean, our mission has always been, and just like you said when we were emailing, it's funny because our mission has always been to help families thrive. And that's always been at the core of what we do. And so that's become even more relevant now in this climate. And, you know, I'm just like you. I mean, our school said we were supposed to go back in person on the 17th. And then just this week, they said, just kidding, it's going to be next week. Oh, and you're going to do the teaching. So you have to kind of roll with the punches and make some quick decisions. And we are definitely seeing a huge uptick in calls from families. And in fact, we had to pivot quickly and introduce our private educator service, because families don't just need a nanny. A lot of them need a private educator because they've chosen to do the homeschooling route, or they've chosen to go virtual, and they need someone that's helping their children one-on-one in the home. And so we have pivoted and done that, and our phones are definitely ringing off the hook. We have offered webinars. We did a fall planning for fall parenting webinar. And that was really well received. I think families just like to know, to be validated that what they were going through was very common. And that was a really popular webinar that just speaks to the level of stress that parents are facing right now.
Yeah.
Caroline and Rosie, I have a question. As I hear you talking, I wonder if you work also with school districts in order to reach out to parents as part of the benefit, or maybe as part of the ecosystem that the school district can offer to their own parents, to the community of their own parents. You know, in helping out in that way by supporting them with a struggle of balance, creating a balancing act between schooling, online training, etc.
There is a bit of a barrier with working with school districts. There's just a disconnect between referring private companies. So we don't directly work with school districts, but we definitely are working with teachers that aren't sure about coming back to the workforce. And we do work with private schools as well, and working with them.
I think, you know, Rosalind, you and Caroline are awesome with the the evolution of your business and meeting the needs. But I think the part that really has just struck me this year is the capability that you've had to kind of lateral and meet people where they're at, rather than talk down to them or overbear them with just ads and sales. You've embraced them from an educational standpoint, which I've seen with some of your webinars and summits that you've done, which is kind of why I brought that up. And then we all have challenges right now. And that's one thing that everybody's really experiencing, is this challenge to balance life, to live a good life, right? And there's not a lot of mental dexterity when you're doing it on your own. So having a community that's helping you and elevating you is great. So I think you guys have found an opportunity in a challenge where most people would have been scared. And so I really want to acknowledge that and appreciate the two of you for what you're doing.
And our vision has evolved over the years, but right now we recognize that when parents aren't supported, there's a domino effect. So marriages can fall apart, relationships between parents and children fall apart. When there's stress and tension in the household, it can create extra tension between siblings. And so when we talk about helping families thrive, we know that it's not just about providing a nanny or a babysitter so mom and dad can get out and get away and recharge their batteries, or a private educator so that mom doesn't have to quit her job in order to help educate her children. It's all of these things that really help families, as we say, be a family again. And that's been our vision moving forward. And I think we appreciate your sentiments, but it's easy for us because families are so, we respect what they do. Moms really right now, a lot of it, and I don't mean to single out moms, but we just, moms are amazing. They make the world go round. And a lot of this, and there's been articles written on this, we know that even though there's some super dads that are really awesome with helping out, a lot of the burden is falling on moms and on women. And so it's just, it's easy for us to step in and help that group of awesome people.
You're absolutely right, Rosie. This week I was participating in the Power School Summits that congregated school district principals, directors, technology gurus, and you name it, every intermediary in the school system. And one of the big problems that was pointed out in the summit was the need to find resources to support homeschooling and the parents that are working, primarily single parents and parents who live in rural areas that do not have access to operability, the technology operability, and broadband and Wi-Fi, and they need transportation to get the kids to school. So it is amazing what you're doing. I'm going to reach out offline to you and Caroline, so you guys can have my contact information, and maybe we can talk about introducing you to these connections from the summits for you to scale. Which brings me to a question. I am in your website right now, and I see that your focus, your territory is Phoenix, Tucson, and Dallas-Fort Worth. Besides this region, are you scaling to other parts of the country?
We do have plans to open a fourth location. It was scheduled for August, and we decided to delay that because of the pandemic. We haven't disclosed what location that will be, and it's going to be opened in January.
Okay.
But we belong to a group called One to One, and it's a group of like-minded agency owners all across the country that cover pretty much, and you can visit their website, that cover pretty much a large portion of the country. And they all offer services similar to ours. They're partnering with companies to offer this as an employee benefit to help employees be more productive. And so that partnership in some ways has helped us spread the word and help other families. And I also just wanted to make mention of the fact that a lot of times when we're talking about nannies or we're talking about private educators, obviously we are in some ways speaking to a higher income group, and the challenge in my heart is knowing that the groups that are suffering the most are those that don't have access to not just a nanny or a private educator, but even a computer. And that's I just want to acknowledge that those are the people that are truly suffering right now. One of the things that we've done to try to make it a little more affordable is we do what we call a nanny or a private educator share. And so when a family calls us in one of those 3 cities, and this is something that they're interested in, but it's just outside of their affordability, we add them to a database of other families that are interested, and we do a nanny share or a private educator share. Once those families are splitting the cost 2 ways, 3 ways, even 4 ways, it becomes incredibly affordable, and that helps us reach more families that otherwise couldn't take advantage of our service.
That is amazing. And Rosie, through Next Wave Founders, we are connecting with other non-for-profit organizations that are working on subsidizing at least part of this cost, so we can reach out more people living marginalized and undercut from these challenges that we are facing. So definitely is something that we can help you with, so we can bring these resources together to the communities that need to be served. My only concern is, are you hiring? Do you have a plan to hire enough teachers or nannies that can supply the demand?
We are actively hiring right now. Recruiting is it's always been our biggest challenge from day one. And this is definitely a different dynamic with the pandemic, but yes, actively hiring, and we are getting teachers wanting to transition what their career looks like for this year. It is a lot safer to be, in I like to call them germ bubbles in somebody's home, where you're working maybe with 2 or 3 families in one environment versus going into a school setting. So we are starting to see people transition what their school year looks like because of that. And we are definitely actively hiring, yes.
Fantastic. So Adam, we are almost 8 minutes away from closing the webinar. So why not we go around asking everybody what they need from the community at this point. The most pressing need maybe is a connection, maybe is for us to give it a shout out in our amazing community with GoDaddy. I don't know, you guys name it, we'll do our best to make your wishes come true. We'll do our best. Do you agree, Adam?
I do. I think that I think we've had a fantastic interview, and I really appreciate the 2 of you for being the stars of the hour with us. And then I appreciate everybody that's participating, Nao, Manny, Maya, Luisa, and then others that are going to be watching this after the fact, because I think it's important to be relevant and raise awareness. I think that you guys hit the head on the nail with the issues that are surrounding families and talking openly about mental wellness. That's a huge thing for me. So I really appreciate, Rosalind and Caroline, for you guys talking about that. And I want to support you guys however I can. So one of the things we're going to do is I want everybody to share their links, everything in the community here, but we're definitely going to take this interview and we're going to kind of syndicate it through the GoDaddy community, because they're one of the ones that helped us start up this openwestand community that's collaborating. And then we're going to syndicate it through other platforms. And then if there's anybody in this group that wants to ask any questions or ask for any help or anything else that we can do, definitely let us know. Living your best life is hard if you've got to take that and put it into this tiny little fishbowl and nobody can see anything unless you magnify, right? So having a community of collaborators where you can see, hear, and learn things that will elevate your needs and kind of give you confidence is what it's all about.
And Adam, I just wanted to add that you know, I think that a barrier that some parents have is that they're afraid to ask for help. They're afraid to need help. We live in a society where women are supposed to do it all and do it perfectly, and it's never meant to be that way. We believe that parenthood should come with a tribe, and that means that there are a number of resources and people that parents should not have to go through it alone. And right now there's a lot of parents that are just doing it alone. So even if it's just calling our agency and getting some information on how to safely hire a sitter, we do DIY screening and consulting, and we educate families all over the country on, if you're going to hire someone on your own and not use an agency, how we can help you do that more safely. We just in general want to be a resource for families, and just let them know that they shouldn't be doing it alone and they don't have to.
Yeah, so I just want to thank everybody that participated today. I know that we're a few minutes over for our schedule, but if anybody has any last minute asks or you want to post your contact information up there, definitely do it. Thank you everybody for being here. Thank you, Rosalind and Caroline, for sharing your
Yeah, thanks for having us.
and waking up and joining breakfast during lunchtime for some of us girls around in Arizona. So thank you.
And Rosie and Caroline, I'll reach out to you via email so we can connect and formalize a little bit more about reaching out to the school districts communities through Power School.
Looking forward to it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a nice day, guys. Stay safe and strong and positive. We're gonna make it through this.
Okay, thank you so much.